Welcome to this episode of Life and IT Project Management YouTube channel, where we connect the dots between the product and solutions you experience, everyone experiences, and the IT project management delivering them, so that future initiative drivers and leaders achieve real-world success. My name is Justus Aiyela, and I have been a project leader for 15 years myself, and this channel is our way of scaling competent project management. Today, we will be uncovering how to build a resilient PM project management career, one that thrives in 2025 and beyond, with a wonderful guest who can capably speak to several dimensions of that topic. So our guest today is Nicola Benjamin. She is a visionary entrepreneur and founder of Project Management Global, a fast-growing startup empowering over 50,000 professionals weekly with transformational career insights and resources. Thanks for joining us, Nicola.
Hi, Justice. Really happy to be here today and lovely to see you again.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So, how to build a resilient project management career in light of so many things that's going on right now. One way to start will be to basically get a bit personal with who you are, what the journey has been for the audience. So basically, my question will be, what led you into project management, culminated into establishing Project Management Global?
Yeah, so I've been a project manager for nearly 25 years now. So I've worked in the public sector, private sector, and most recently I was a senior consultant with a global consultancy firm. And I think really just over those years, I had seen kind of the best of project management, but I'd also seen that there were lots of gaps in terms of really from a practitioner's perspective, in terms of what the industry could do better. And what I felt was missing. So Project Management Global really stemmed from conversations that I had with colleagues, friends, barriers and issues that I had sort of faced throughout my career. And those challenges really led me to try to create, I guess, a solution that was better than what was currently available and could really help practitioners in developing their careers and their opportunities in project management.
That's beautiful. So you've been in the neck of the woods, basically, on what it takes to really be a successful project manager. Now, the next question I will have will be, based on your experience and all the conversations you have had, and now being running Project Management Global, what does it truly mean to build a resilient project management career?
Yeah. So for me, I think it's about ensuring that you are always at the forefront of where the industry is. I think one of the things that we all learn very quickly as project managers is you are literally as good as your last project. So it's really that ability to continuously kind of hone your skills and really make you as prepared as you can be for your next project that you're about to take on. And I think actually that piece around resilience is even more important now because our industry is changing so quickly. We can't necessarily just rely on some of the skills and skill sets that we've built in the previous part of our careers. We really need to be kind of arming ourselves and tooling ourselves up with the set of skills that is going to take us forward in the next kind of set of project management challenges going forward. So I think that piece around resilience, it's really kind of a new frontier, kind of given where we are with the level of kind of technology and industry growth that we're currently seeing.
That's beautiful. So I like what you mentioned earlier regarding most project managers are only as good as their last project, and they need to continually fit into what comes up next. Now, while doing that, I guess there will be a couple of things that are foundationally important through time. And most PMs might want to be thinking of, can I have a playbook that regardless of what changes, regardless of what evolution comes forth, I can still apply that going forward as I learn? In your experience, what has been commonplace regarding a PM's toolkit, for example, baseline skill sets, templates for tech competencies?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting kind of way of framing it. And I do agree with you that there is a kind of a base set or fundamental set of tools that as good project managers that we all have. So I'll answer that question first, and then I'll kind of explain why we almost need a little bit more than that kind of base tool kit kind of going forwards. For me, it always comes back, good project management, there are some fundamentals. So great communication, great technical skills, great understanding in terms of the kind of structure of how projects come about, how they're implemented, how they're executed. So there are some specific requirements that you need to know. So, I put them into two camps. So you've got your hard skills. So that's kind of the skill set that you implement when you are rolling out a project and you're actually undertaking your project activity. And that may be around the kind of tools, the methodologies, kind of those really kind of hard tasks that you might undertake. And then you've got a set of soft skills. And these are skills that very much they are more based on kind of you as a practitioner and how you really interact with your project and how you go about kind of managing changes that may occur on your project. And those things are very much around communications, negotiating, how you manage your team, how you, for instance, manage uncertainty, how you manage risk and your appetite, and how you're able to really, I guess, augment that depending on the type of project that you're working on or the requirements of your particular sponsors and demands of your project. And I think it's a really interesting thing because that toolkit is very much a mixture of kind of your opportunity to kind of gain experience in how to actually implement those skills. But there's also a kind of a clear set of skills that you have to have in the first place so that you've got them so that you're actually able to use them on your projects. And I think that piece around kind of gaining that skill set, typically through either certifications or doing qualifications. And then you've got a wider piece where you've got to actually implement that. And that's the experience. So what are the different scenarios that allow you to test and grow your expertise over that time? And for me, those are the fundamentals that all project managers have to kind of go into the workplace with. And then on top of that, so we talked about kind of why we just can't rely on that kind of single set of skills. And the reason for that is simply the industry is just changing. And I think that is really about the fact that those core skills, whilst they will get you to a certain extent on your project, because things are changing so exponentially at the moment, those skills that we relied on previously are not necessarily the same skills that we're going to be relying on going forward. Yes, there'll be a subset that will always remain. So, you will always need to be a good communicator. You will always need to understand how to manage your stakeholders. You will always need to understand how to manage risk and how to be able to assess, how your project is going to be impacted by risk. But there's going to be a whole sort of additional things that you may need to understand on top of that. And we're only really starting to kind of get a feel and understanding as to what some of those skill sets in the future are going to need to be. So, take a really easy example. So risk management, you need to understand the fundamentals of risk. However, there are going to be all kinds of different applications available in the future. There are applications that are available now. So maybe we all won't need to be, major experts in risk because there will be a set of tools and support functions that help us to do that. We may all still need to understand what risk is and how it's implemented on our project, but we may not need to have the deep domain expertise that we've had to have previously. However, saying that, if we look at the kind of the world ahead of us, there may be a different set of skills that we need to be able to master in order to be able to do our jobs as well as we've been able to do them in the past. So, for instance, how do we leverage technology as that becomes more and more important in our role? So instead of understanding, and again, I'll use the risk example, instead of understanding exactly how you are going to undertake a risk exercise in your program, you might, for instance, instead need to understand what are the technologies that now allow you to look at the multiple risk factors that may be impacting your project going forward. And the skill there may be in terms of how you are able to assess and analyze your project and those risks involved based on the various different factors. And it may be, for instance, how in terms you leverage that new sort of digital or technical capability. And that might be around the questions that you're asking the system to actually help you define. So that set of skills has clearly changed from one where you are directly implementing the project risk activity to one where you are now looking at what are the tools that are available and what knowledge do you need to have in order to leverage those tools so you're maximizing the work that you're doing around risk. So it's a subtle difference, but it's really important, and that's going to really amplify as we move forward with the technologies that are coming on.
Awesome. That basically validates a situation where, yes, foundationally, there are hard skills. There are hard skills that you should, from a process standpoint, right? From a process standpoint, at a minimum, there are hard skills, as well as foundationally, there are soft skills that you should continue to polish, how you communicate, how you engage, how you influence, right? But layering in on top of that, how you now deploy the features, capabilities of tools that become available to you in ensuring that even there's one just a bit of a segue that when it comes to requirement management, requirement gathering and management, having AI, for example, solve for full current state analysis of an enterprise's system to be able to provide guidance regarding who to gather requirements from, right? And what systems, basically from systems impact analysis, be able to say, define these are the individuals that should be involved at several points and so forth. And all through the pipeline of developing a project plan, executing a project plan and so forth. I know that there are tools being developed to basically solve for all that, including risk management, right? So in your own viewpoint, you started to speak to trends. Do you want to now add beyond risk management and of course communication management? What trends do you see PMs, or what trends should PMs watch out for in tech across board?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. So of course, risk is just an example. So for me, there is a massive move towards data analysis and how that can impact the way in which you not only make decisions on your project, but how you really kind of implement and execute on your project. So that data piece, we're now looking at multiple levels of data. And I think it's going to be really important that as project leaders, project practitioners, we get really comfortable in that data space. I think interestingly, one of the, I guess, sort of previous ways that we managed projects was that it was really a lot in terms of our gut instincts. So we had access to project data, but now if you look at it compared to the amount of data that we now can access, a lot of some of those decisions we were actually taking blind. We were looking at the data that was available to us, and then as project practitioners, we were filling in those blanks because we had some of that experience from past projects. I think that the change going forward is that data piece. It's really a case in terms of how do you assess and manage so much data, and how can you ensure that you are effectively sorting through that data so you're making those decisions based on good quality data and the right quality data and the right data that is applicable to your particular project. And I think there's going to be a new task in terms of project managers being able to effectively discern that data and not be entirely reliant on all these systems, but have sufficient capabilities that you can actually,
Awesome. All right. Now, just to get a bit practical for the audience, in your experience, I do know that, you have gone from network rail to setting up project management. I can hold on.
Sorry, just one minute. Brent, I'm doing a podcast. Can you go outside? No, you can't be in here.
Don't worry, we'll be done soon.
Sorry. Hopefully you can cut that piece out.
Of course. Definitely. All right,
Sorry,
good.
carry on.
So back to the questions. Now, in your experience, I do know that you have gone from network rail to setting up project management global, and this has been over like you said earlier, over the span of so many years, over 2 decades now. Now, what has helped you grow from, not being that young project manager, right? Project leader, fearing for a career that didn't seem resilient then. So now being at a point where, yes, you know who you are, you've gained a lot of experience, and your career is somewhat resilient to so many things.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think like most careers, so I'm not just, looking at project management. I think there is a level of resilience that just comes with time and with experience. So I think, one thing that I have done is I've got a very broad spectrum of projects that I've been involved with. I think, as I said at the beginning, I've looked at projects in the public sector, private sector, consultancy, different sectors. So right from kind of energy through to tech, through to large investment projects. So I think there has been, for me personally, there has definitely been a lesson in that resilience having that kind of broad foundation of projects. And then, the difference from when you start out your career is that maybe you have a broad set of views, but it's a relatively, low level in terms of your seniority. I think what I've tried to do is build up that kind of range of projects that I'm involved with and build up the level of seniority that I'm involved with them at. Again, it allows you to then have that level of transferable skills. So not only are you able to manage at a senior level, but you're able to manage at a senior level across different sectors and different types of projects. So what that does is it broadens your expertise, it broadens your confidence to be able to deal with different types of projects and different challenges. And it also allows you that flexibility that you can move in and out of different projects. So if one particular sector is, for instance, facing a downturn or there are less projects available to you, you're able to seamlessly move across to different sectors. And for me, that is a piece of advice that I will continue to give kind of new project managers as they come into the field. I would be very, very careful about kind of getting yourself kind of stuck down a rabbit hole. And again, the nuance there is I'm not saying that you can't become a subject matter expert. Subject matter expertise is a fantastic way to grow your seniority. And for me personally, that subject matter expertise came in the fact that I was a specialist in transformation and change management. So that's the kind of headline across all of my projects. So, absolutely work out the area that you can be the best of the best in. My advice, though, is that you're able to do that across a range of different sector and a range of different types of projects, because what that then does is it allows you to have the flexibility to move in and out of the different parts of the industry and not be wholly reliant on one particular either type of project or one particular sector. And I think, really key lesson that I've learned throughout my career is that the industry is cyclical. At one point in time, energy might be the driving force. At another time, it might be investment projects and big infrastructure projects. Another point in time, it'll be something completely different. And I think where I've seen project managers suffer in the past is where they only kind of have expertise in one particular kind of sector. And then suddenly, if that sector has a downturn, then they're suddenly kind of scrambling about to see kind of where they go next. It's not saying that they don't have a great skill set. It's not saying that they're not great project managers. It's just that they haven't allowed themselves to be exposed to different types of projects. So when they start to have to compete in the market, then if you're competing against somebody that has that broader range of experience, there is just a level of confidence that comes with.
Fantastic, because through this conversation, you have spoken to the value of, yes, building the foundational skill sets, hard skill sets, soft skill sets. But on top of that, to your point earlier, you want to be in a situation where you open yourself up to opportunities across board, different industries. You don't want to be caught in the web of what's happening in one specific industry that's going through its cyclical turn, and at that point, it's in a downturn and it affects you. You're stuck there, right? So, and that's great for That's great for new PMs because it's a mindset thing. Yeah, opening up to opportunities. Now, when it comes to experienced PMs who have quite like seen quite a bit themselves, how do they? Because some, in fact, it might be shocking to some that they don't know that they could be PMO leaders or portfolio leaders and so forth, and they stay in the program leadership role and that kind of thing. So how can experienced PMs elevate their leadership in today's changing landscape?
So for me, there are a couple of things that I would point to. So one, I think you have to become more comfortable with being uncomfortable.
How can experienced PMs who have been, in project management for so many years, how can they elevate their leadership in today's changing landscape?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. So for me, there are two things. So one, it's getting comfortable in being in uncomfortable situations. I think you just have to give yourself the opportunity to try out sort of what's happening in the project market. So I think if you are used to delivering one particular type of project, then you need to be able to comfortably take that skill set that you have and be able to apply it in a different part of the industry. And I think once you sort of really become comfortable in that, the confidence kind of naturally comes with it. And I think there is a real, for me personally, there is a real need when you are a leader that you are leading with both credibility and confidence. And a lot of that is a mindset. But that mindset and that confidence comes with the fact that you know that you can perform at an exceptional level in those different spaces, and that you don't feel that you're kind of wedded to one particular type of project or one particular type of, executing on project outcomes. So it's partly mindset, it's partly giving yourselves the opportunity to kind of test your skill set in different spaces.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. I can confirm that that has also been an item for me to look out for after having been in a specific type of project, being worried about applying all the foundational skill sets to a different type of project, different type of environment. That has been at some point a difficult mindset shift for me. But beyond that as well, you did mention that, credibility and confidence also plays a huge part in that. Yes, I also do confirm that that is the case because you find that some of them, especially for independent contributors, right? You can do so much communicating what you want to accomplish to different audiences and being confident in what you're saying can be a bit difficult sometimes, right? As you switch between different audiences. But, remembering that, yes, you did do the work, right? You've done the work, you're delivering the value, speak confidently too, because no one else will speak as well as yourself or advocate for you as well as yourself, right? Awesome. Fantastic. So, summarily, you started with your journey, you've spoken to what it means to build a resilient project management career. You spoke to, yes, having foundational toolkits, a tool set, but opening yourself up for advancement by being a bit flexible regarding, yes, you might want to be a subject matter expert in a specific niche, but you don't want to be caught in the web of that niche not being right where it should be through time. You have spoken to, being flexible with using technology for different reasons. As we move forward, as we go on, technology will be applied to different domains of project management and being quick to learn how to use them as they come up. We've spoken to new project managers that they should ensure that, yes, foundationally they have what they need to have, but they also should be open to different industries so that they can grow quickly. You've spoken also finally to experienced PMs who might require a huge mindset shift regarding how they present their credibility, right? Because they need to advocate for themselves, but they need to be credible. They need to be delivering value and be able to speak confidently to the value they are delivering so that they can also be greater, better leaders in this changing landscape. So you've really spoken to the topic, and I'm hoping that the audience can pick on different things at different points. And when the audience, anyone in the audience anyone listening to this right now, when you do have any questions, I'm sure that we'll provide more details shortly. Nicola will provide more details shortly regarding upcoming workshops and how to get to us. So let's start with any upcoming workshop or program the audience should look out for.
Yeah, so this is a really good point in time for Project Management Global because we are just about to launch our premium membership. So it is a premium opportunity to become a project leader. And really what the point of why we've decided to create this community is because we wanted to provide an accelerated opportunity for project professionals to kind of find a place to really obtain some of those additional skills and techniques that you might not necessarily be able to pull together by yourself. So this is going from kind of creating the network in terms of peer and peer support that you might need to help improve the quality of your project management, through to finding the right types of coaching and mentoring outside of kind of completing your sort of standard certifications and professional qualifications that you might be undertaking. It's also about kind of finding those opportunities to learn about project management. So really providing the opportunities to have case studies and have a look at the sort of projects that you might not directly be able to see on your actual project, but then if you're able to see it on someone else's project, then that can open up the level of experience that you are able to gain. So our premium membership is really just an opportunity to pull together all those kind of wider things that you need to become a really holistically great project manager and really put it in one place for individuals. So it's a mixture of kind of a masterclass approach, but also kind of peer-to-peer mentoring, as well as specific coaching and mentoring from professionals within the industry.
Fantastic. Where can they get more information regarding
Yeah, so the easiest place to go is either to sign up to Project Management Global. So we have and basically become a subscriber. We are about to launch our premium membership product at the end of this month. So we've currently got a waiting list of practitioners that are waiting to join. So the way you can join that waiting list is to become a subscriber, and your details will automatically, if you do want to know more about it, then you're able to sign up to that waiting list. Or alternatively, you can just drop me a line directly. And again, part of the reason that we're doing this is, even from my own journey and from the journey of some of my peers, what we realized that it had taken us really 25 years and, crazy amounts of time to really kind of pull together all of those things that have kind of got us to where we have sort of finally arrived in our careers. And for me personally, I found it incredibly frustrating that it has taken that long. Well, actually, we know exactly what those building blocks are to having a great career. So what we've tried to do in Project Management Global is really just to pull that together in one place and make it accessible for the people that it will be really helpful for. And that's whether you are at the kind of point in your career when you're kind of moving from kind of a senior project manager kind of up into kind of executive and C-suite levels, or even if you're a mid-career project manager and you're really wanting to kind of take the next steps to get you to kind of senior leadership and more senior roles. So it's really looking at kind of all of those inflection points as a project manager, and then thinking about what's the support structure, what are the insights, what's the information, what are the networks that you need to kind of get you over that kind of barrier and through to the next position that you want to get to.
Awesome. And for the best way people can reach out to you or connect with you,
Yeah, so easiest place to reach me is just via my either email address or on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, I'm Nicola Benjamin. If you want to reach out to me via my email, it's nicola@pm.
Awesome. All right. So we want to thank you for sharing your time and what it takes to build, a resilient project management career. We look forward to sharing feedback or questions with you from the audience. Now, for everyone watching, we hope today's conversation has inspired you and equipped you in some way. If you've learned something valuable, drop a comment on what resonated with you most. Like, share. Don't forget to click the subscribe button to stay updated on more content connecting life and IT project management. Until next time, remember, every man is the architect of his fortunes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.